What's up, everyone? Today we are going to be building a rustic style rabbit kennel entertainment center. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to be notified every time that we post a video. So here I've got 15 10-foot length sections of half-inch aluminum conduit. I'm sure as you've seen by the thumbnail that the black bars that make up the front and sides of the cage. This is a much cheaper alternative than buying the fence packs at big box stores that have these same exact bars in them. I think you get 6 in a pack for an average of like $20 to $25. By buying conduit and some black spray paint, I was able to get 60 of these bars for around $50 and a little bit of elbow grease. I cut each 10-foot piece into 4 equal 30-inch sections. As far as paint goes on these, I just got a pretty decent quality flat black spray paint. I done 2 full coats on one face of them, and once they dried, I rolled them over and applied 2 more coats. So my final dimensions of this cabinet is going to be 65 inches wide, 26 inches deep, and around 37 inches tall. I cut all 4 legs down to 36 inches because the top that I plan to put on this thing is 1 inch thick white oak rough sawn barnwood. So for the top and bottom boards for the front and both sides, on the top I'm using 2x4s and on the bottoms I'm using 2x3s. Really the only reason behind this was to use up some material that I had laying in the shop. Also, I need the 2x4 on top of the barn door, or on top of the cabinet, so that the barn door hardware has 3 inches of space between the top of the cabinet and the top of the runner that the barn door rollers slide across. So I ripped down a piece of solid pine down to the width of the 4x4. I mounted that piece to the bottom of the bottom board. I mounted the 2x3 in the center of this piece of solid pine. That left me with 1 inch of overhang on the front and back side of the bottom board. The lip on the back side will be the support for the floor and of the cage, and the lip on the front will just make it look more symmetrical for when I put the doors on. So here I just laid the bars out on the sideboards just to make sure that I was okay with the spacing. And after that, I just took both of those boards and clamped them together and marked them the exact same and used a Forstner bit to drill 1/2 inch deep into them to accept the bars. And here you can see I'm attaching the same exact thing as I did on the front, the 3.5 inch wide piece of white pine that is going to act as a support for my floor and just to give it some dimensional look on the other side. So for the pine support board that I was talking about earlier, on the back here, I didn't leave it overhang on the front side of it because this is the back of the cabinet and it'll be pushed up against the wall. So here I took a 36 grit flap disc mounted to a grinder and just kind of knocked the edges down on the boards. This kind of gives it the rustic, worn look. And after I done this, I went back across it with a orbital sander and a piece of 120 grit paper. And I done this to kind of take out some of that 36 grit scratch marks that this thing left. This stuff here that I'm using for the back is just 1/4 inch MDF shiplap that I got from Lowe's. It came in a pack of 6 boards. Each one was 36 inches tall by 5.5 inches wide. One side was tongue and groove style and the back was just plain shiplap, and we like the tongue and groove look to be on the inside of the cabinet. And the cutoffs from doing the back, I use them to make their litter box and their little house that you'll see just here in just a second. So my camera stopped recording for some reason whenever I was making this. Here's the litter box and the hay feeder. The hay feeder is just the front of an old milk crate that I cut apart and mounted to a piece of 1/4 inch MDF with zip ties and a few weathered chain links. And here is the house finished up. I took a few of the scrap bar pieces and made a small banister for their porch. So for the top here, I just used a carpenter square just to get a straight line and get all the screw lines, or the screws lined up straight. And after I got them lined up, I just took a track saw and cut a straight edge off and cut the top down to size. I've done this on both sides. These boards, they come off of a barn that was on my property when we bought our house. They're a little bit warped and cupped, so when I screwed them down, it did warp the cabinet just a little bit, but it wasn't horrible. When I got it in place in our living room upstairs, I just used some shims to even it out and get the wobble out of it. I didn't go through the trouble of planing these boards down and trying to run them through a joiner to straighten them up before I put them on, just because for the cabinet's application it really wasn't necessary. Another main reason is we wanted to keep the weathered gray look. Here I just took some black paint and put down the screw holes. I really like how it turned out. It helped pull some of the black hardware on the cabinet into the top. I also wanted to point out, if you can kind of see it right here, I put down a rubber mat in the bottom and I silicone the edges all the way around it. I also done this in the litter pan. This just makes it just allows for an easier cleanup if they was to spill or have an accident inside the kennel. Please excuse this mess that you're about to see. Our rabbits are only about 8 weeks old, and it only takes them maybe 5 minutes to make this kennel this dirty. We're in the process of training them, and yes, rabbits can be litter trained. Hopefully it's not always going to be this messy. And also too, please don't jump on me saying that this is not enough space for rabbits. I do realize it is a little bit small, but honestly the only thing that they use this for is really sleep and eat. Most of the time my children have them out playing with them. They're running through the house playing with the dogs. We pretty much just use this whenever we're gone or have to run to the store or whatever, or work, just to kind of keep them in one spot. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment if you have any questions. I hope you all stay safe and enjoy your days, and God bless you all.